The LLM in Mercantile Law is a very new program. We've started with this program at the beginning of 2020, and there are approximately 4 modules and of course a mini dissertation. The 4 modules, the first one is simply company law and corporate governance, and a brief description of company law and corporate governance is the application of the Companies Act, and if there's a problem with the interpretation of a specific section of the Companies Act, then we simply refer to the King Report or the King Report on Corporate Governance as a supplement document how to understand the Companies Act better. The second module that we are presenting is simply international trade and investment law, and international trade and investment law is also part of mercantile law. Just to give a brief background, generally 2 states will sign a contract that is referred to as a treaty. It's also possible for an investment company, a foreign investment company, to sign a treaty with South Africa. So in this regard, the treaty between a foreign investment company and South Africa will simply say that in the event of a dispute, the dispute will be resolved by an international tribunal. So that is a very interesting subject from an international perspective with a mercantile component. The third module is simply financial securities, and financial securities is simply dealing with the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, where financial markets are divided into 2 separate markets. The first one is simply the primary market, and the second one is simply the secondary market. So if I have to give an explanation of the secondary market, that is simply where a shareholder is selling his shares to another shareholder. So in that aspect, in terms of the Companies Act, there are certain requirements that one must comply with when you are selling your shares to another shareholder. The primary market is simply where the company is issuing shares for the first time to the public, and in that regard, there are also certain principles relevant to the primary market. The most common principle is simply a prospectus. So this is the first time where a company is selling shares to the public, which is simply known as a primary market. But nevertheless, a company that's listed on a Johannesburg Stock Exchange will most likely participate in the secondary market because there are constant selling of shares between shareholders. And the last subject that we are presenting in the LLM Mercantile Law is simply contemporary intellectual property law. Now, contemporary intellectual property law is also a very interesting subject. It deals with copyright law, it deals with patent law, and it also deals with trademark law. So in this subject, we will explain to you how to register a patent and how to enforce a patent against third parties. This is very important from a pharmaceutical point of view because we all know that there are constant developments, constant creativity, how to develop new medicines in South Africa, for example. So therefore, it's very important to understand how to patent, for example, a new medicine product.